All right, we're recording. Hi, everyone. This is the 8th. What month is it? May? Yeah, it's May 8th. I'm still a little jet lagged from KubeCon. This is our 6th meeting, apparently. And we're coming back from a 2-week long break. Because of KubeCon, which was great, by the way. So let's get right into it. Okay. So let's see. Should we just go through the? I guess you can't see my screen, can you? Why don't you come sit over here, and then since there's only the two of us, that's easier than projecting.
Yep. Yeah, we could just go through the
let's go through items. This guy and see what we have. Okay, document IDL tags and more. I know Antoine did something.
Yeah, we all
thought that was done.
Oh no, there's definitely. I mean, it didn't sound like there was consensus on what we thought about union.
Okay. But that, I mean, he only had 3 points listed for this, so maybe we can make another entry for the.
Sounds good.
Because I know some stuff got merged.
Yep.
So, okay. Let's do that. Open API, generic error handling.
That PR is out for
review.
Yep.
Okay.
For list type validation.
Okay.
And there's actually, so that was actually the first reorganizing it so we could do error type validation for list types. And there's like 2 or 3 other types of categories of validation that we want to do. Like for list type equals map, we want to make sure it has a key. Okay. We want to make sure that list type.
Are you blocked on reviews?
Yeah, there's one review that's out.
It was blocked on me.
Yeah, I mean, then
okay, let's figure something out.
Yeah, I could get Antoine to do it if you want, if you feel comfortable with it, or go in, get Mehdi to dig into it.
Yeah, let's figure something out.
Got it.
We don't have to do it here. Patch handler, add tests.
I saw that Jenny had made some progress with the patch handler.
Yeah, I saw that. Good stuff. So I definitely got the refactor in, so that's nice. Open API through to spec registry. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Jenny got that in.
Yeah.
Somebody's already typing. Changelog merged. Yes, that happened. Design union. Sounds like that is still getting designed.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's our best sprint yet, even considering the fact that it's 2 weeks. Yeah, that's like 20 points in 2 weeks, 10 points in a week. That's still twice as much. Okay, so that's good. So let's see. I see people on Zoom. Does anybody have any thoughts, any decisions we need to make, any updates?
I have a clear path in Kube Open API to this PR, more type validation for lists, and then moving on to maps.
Okay.
And structs, and then we're talking about union. So everything, I think all the boxes have been checked.
Okay.
I feel like I have a clear path.
Somebody's trying to chat.
Jenny.
Okay. Yeah, Jenny says she started patch handler. Okay. All right. So you're good to go. All right. Well, let's see what we can do for planning. Accept some new content type. Yeah, sounds good. Jenny, what do you think about giving the patch handler the ability to do a post if the resource doesn't exist yet. I think that's a patch handler post. Resource doesn't exist yet. It's definitely a feature branch thing. I'm not sure what sort of complexity that.
Maybe.
That's at least a 5. It might be more. It might be more. I don't know. There might be dragons. Let's see. Yeah, I think the content. Jenny says the content type is less than 8. Yeah, I think the content type is. Yeah, that sounds like a 5 or a 3, but I think calling post is going to be more complicated. Okay. And I think, all right, I think I need to do some work on the conversion stack, at least like document what needs to be done, like to fix the defaulting.
And we think that that's actually where a lot of the landmines are.
It seems worth thinking about it now rather than later. I'm still here through the end of this month and then most of June, so there's still time. But yeah, I think.
Is there any other, now that you brought that up, is there any other refactors you think would require your context? Like, for instance, you refactored patch in order to make it more testable.
Yeah.
Is there any other items like that should be brought up, started sooner rather than later?
Yeah, I think defaulting conversion is in that category. What else? Maybe we should look at.
Maybe the validation bits where we talked about moving those to sort of work on the versioned object.
Oh, on the moving validation to external version?
Yeah.
That's going to be a big change. Is it totally necessary?
Maybe I was misreading what we were wanting to do. Was the Open API validation intended to be advisory, but the existing validation path is authoritative? It wasn't clear to me what the interplay between those two was supposed to be.
Yeah. I was thinking of it as like a series of gates. Like you have to pass the Open API validation, then you have to pass the handcrafted artisanal validation code. But the fact that the Open API is definitely going to run on the external type, but the other is going to run on the internal type makes it, well, at the very least, it makes it computationally inefficient to keep calling the validation inside a retry loop.
Yeah, I'm more nervous about the oh, I thought you had it. I thought you had it. And then between the two, neither has it, and invalidating gets through.
We need to make sure we have tests that exercise the properties over the entire handler chain, not just over one of the validation aspects, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, just for the same reason that we need integration and or end-to-end tests that verify that our glue code is correct. Because it's complicated enough that it can have bugs.
Yeah.
Jordan, since you're on the call, what do you think about the change Jenny made wiring OpenAPI through various parts of our stack? It's slightly invasive and it seems generally like, useful or at least not harmful.
Is this the one that kind of did a fake request run through a handler and then scraped the output?
Yeah, it caches it. Yeah, I'd kind of like to put it in master, I think. Any visible changes.
Okay. I'll admit I didn't read the pull in detail, but the parts I saw weren't they didn't match what I expected.
What did you expect?
The schema to actually be provided to the handler. I don't understand why the handler is going back out and fetching a top-level schema for all types. That seems strange to me.
The schema isn't present at the time the handlers are constructed. So
okay, that seems wrong. Like, if a handler is going to be responsible for serializing the types?
Present at that time is because we constructed with the same code that we use to wire up the handlers, and we don't have a complete schema until all the handlers have been added in.
The serialization, the storage, which includes the serialization and all the type information that a handler is going to have, is present when we construct the handler.
The verbs, so there's data models and operations, and the operations are completely absent.
So those are derived from the handler. So I would expect to, like, the way the OpenAPI schema figures out what verbs you have is by looking at what methods your handler implements. So,
I have like two general thoughts here, which is I don't want to have this kind of conversation when we go to reintegrate. So PRs to the feature branch should be treated exactly like PRs to master in terms of the review we do to them. So if you have this kind of concern, like, please don't tell me at this meeting. Tell me on the PR.
Okay, I saw the PR yesterday, like well after it had merged.
So
I don't like ghosting PRs.
So I was actually arguing the same thing you were arguing, and Mehdi and Jenny convinced me that actually the only correct way to do it is the way that they did it.
No, I disagree. The information, the handler has the information. It's weird to take that information, hoist it up into
consider
combined OpenAPI doc, and then like scrape that back into the handler.
There's multiple ways of representing the OpenAPI schema, or the object schema. The format that we put in at the beginning of the pipeline is not the same as the format that we get out of the other end.
But the format doesn't matter. What matters is the
we don't have
field information. Like what the names of the objects are, the stuff that gets munged together when we combine a bunch of schemas from a bunch of different places, that's mechanical. That doesn't have any bearing on the validation rules around a particular type, right? It may be
mechanical, but the code is written to do it on these formats already. So we're either going to rewrite the code or we're going to reuse the stuff that we already have.
I don't think a handler scraping an OpenAPI doc after the fact is.
Okay, how do you want to make it work for CRDs?
Well, presumably the OpenAPI schema for the CRD type will be provided, right, as part of the CRD. And today, anytime you make a change to a CRD, we rebuild the handler and swap it in. So, like, if you change what verbs you support, or you change to support status spec, whatever you make, anytime you change a CRD, we rebuild the handler and swap it into the endpoint.
All right.
So that seems
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna schedule a VC between you, me, and Mehdi and Jenny, and we'll hash it out.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Let's see. We have a few minutes left.
I actually had one thing. The dry run function. Your comments on the other PR that was kind of talking about apply and some things that a use case that is probably going to get broken by the server side apply stuff.
Mhm.
I was thinking about dry run. Even if we don't do dry run in the first revision, it would be really handy to figure out how you're going to indicate you want a dry run, so that we can go ahead and spec out the API bit, and then if you request a dry run and it's not implemented, the server can say nope. But what we don't want is for a user to say, I want a dry run, and a previous revision of the server says, I don't know what dry run is, but I'm going to go ahead and submit your object.
Yeah, so you think the API is worth getting in? Yeah, I agree.
At least some indicator, something that before we get this, because I really want, like from the first revision, to be able to depend on dry run not committing the object.
Yeah, we want an old API server to say, sorry, I don't support dry run, and not, okay, I can do that for you.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, that's a great point. Yeah, and dry run needs to propagate down to things like admission controllers, webhook. Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, and it's complicated, but if we can at least get the indicator in, we can fail fast and say, nope, I don't support dry run, rather until we figure out, all the various nooks and crannies that it has to work in.
Master.
I think we want to put in, yeah, this is what Jordan's saying. We should make master reject calls that set the dry run flag. Okay. Or we need to find a syntax that API
will cause it to fail. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna add a.
I mean, ideally, you'd be able to use this with create and update and this patch apply method.
Yeah.
So I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if that's like a content type kind of thing.
Yeah, we can have a content type that it rejects. I guess I was. I mean, the most obvious thing to do is to add a query parameter.
But that's not going to fail right now.
Yeah,
right?
that's not going to fail right now. So,
yeah.
I don't know, if you came to a freshly designed system, how would you expect to see dry run implemented? I think a content type would not be my first.
Yeah.
Accept encoding?
No, that's the response back from the server.
Right, but you don't expect, you expect the same type of response. You don't expect that thing to be done.
Yeah, accept encoding is not telling the server what to do while it is accepting your request. So probably a query parameter.
I can think of either a query parameter or a header. I don't think there's a reasonable answer, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if we should think about making a general system for headers that will always be rejected, so that
like critical extensions. Like if you don't recognize these extensions, you must reject.
Like a prefix, like X Kubernetes mandatory or X Kubernetes essential or something like that.
That's actually, are there HTTP things for like prereq? Like before you accept this, you must fulfill this condition. There might be something like that.
Like the if match system for e-tags. I don't think that. I think that does like the opposite of what we'd want.
Anyway, we don't pass that, do we?
If match?
Like even the prereq, like if we don't support it today, it's not gonna make a difference.
Well, sure. What I mean, you are correct. No server today is going to honor this, but the sooner we can spec out something and get it in, then you can say, well, since 1.11, so by the time the apply stuff gets into beta GA, the conditional dry run stuff will have been in for several releases.
Yeah. I'm very tempted to say a query parameter is better. It's easier to encode in the URL when you want to use curl.
It's easier to use from curl, or it's less typing.
A header from curl isn't isn't difficult.
It's like this, you know. it's-
Yeah, we can see if there's like prior art for conditional things.
yeah.
Anyway, I mostly wanted it available before the apply stuff or with the apply stuff so that people can apply with dry run with confidence.
Yeah.
So you're open to us doing that in master right now?
I think so. I mean, we wanted it. We've wanted it for reasons other than just apply.
Right.
So I think it's orthogonal / a prereq or a corec. Like we'd want it before we release apply into the wild.
All right. I just signed you up to write this.
Okay. Sounds good.
And I'm signing myself up to write the defaulting strategy that I haven't seemed to get around to. Hopefully I'll be able to find time for that. Michael says on chat, headers are easier to filter from a proxy's point of view. Query parameters are easier for developers.
That's good points.
Yeah. Although
Do you want to filter?
that only makes sense for like it only makes sense.
I'm just saying it's easy to manage. It's easy to manage these things. And all
Yeah.
that.
I will say custom headers are more likely to be filtered by proxies, which if the header is indicating you want a dry run request, that's a terrifying header to get filtered.
Yeah.
It's a perfect filter to get, or perfect header to get filtered.
No, like dropped. Like I don't know what this custom header is, so I'm not going to propagate it to the back end.
Yeah.
No, I know. I've run into it myself.
Okay.
I was just being sarcastic. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's
Send the sarcasm.
This seems to be something application specific more than HTTP specific.
Yeah.
I think the query param is more targeting the app instead of targeting the HTTP layer.
Yeah. I guess our list options, delete options,
yeah,
we've
those
done as query parameters rather than headers.
Yeah, we already have a way to represent it there.
So yeah.
I think seems like query parameters are probably where we're going to come down. Is my guess.
Yeah.
After hearing this, but yeah, in that case, we absolutely need to have that in. Like, yeah, or like maybe we can actually make a change, which adds these to the various options structs, and then also adds a check in the corresponding handlers that just fails the request if that shows up. If we make that small enough, maybe it's actually reasonable to cherry pick back a release or two.
Yeah, I don't think we have create options or update options. So the options we have today are around reads and deletes, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, you're right.
The query parameters get unmarshaled into options structs. Okay, so
that's probably not going to be pickable, but I think it could probably proceed in master.
And report findings back. Do you have time for this? Okay, cool. We're out of time. Thanks, everyone. I'll just clean up the spreadsheet here, and we'll call it good.
All right.
David, you're just in time for us to end.
Yeah, not my best showing. I'm gonna hit you on Slack in just a minute too.
Okay. All right. Bye, everybody.
All right.
Ciao.